War has begun, government. Do you think we're just gonna lay down and take this tyranny? United we stand, divided we fall! You're gonna learn why Gen Z and millennials are gonna run this shit. Stitch that, Joe Biden!
Okay, so the U.S. House of Representatives have passed a bill to ban TikTok. They're giving TikTok an ultimatum: either sell the company within 6 months or be outright banned in the United States. The House passed this bill, but it's not official yet. It's one of 3 major steps that need to be taken in order to make this thing actually happen. So the next step is for the Senate to debate this and for the Senate to pass it. It looks like it might be passed in the Senate, even though we're hearing some noise that maybe it won't be. But once it passes the Senate, you're going to need Sleepy Joe to sign off on it. His handlers have already said multiple times that he's going to sign it. So it looks like it might be only a matter of time before TikTok is banned. So this is sparking outrage. This is sparking all types of debate. People on both sides of the issue. The people on the side against the ban are mainly the younger people, the people using it. And a lot of people saying, well, this is a national security threat. Other people saying good because TikTok is toxic to begin with, so we don't need it in the United States anyways, especially the fact that it's owned by China. So the House voted in a landslide to do this. On both sides, there was not much argument. There was really any argument at all. It wasn't even close. It wasn't partisan. Most Republicans and most Democrats supported this ban. TikTok has already been banned in countries like India, second largest population in the world, been banned in Nepal, a neighbor of China. These countries have issues with China. They have issues with the Chinese government, and they don't want anything to do with Chinese government apps like TikTok. Several other countries, they're talking about banning it. Countries all over the world, they're talking about banning it. The EU, they haven't banned them, but they've already they heavily fined TikTok, and they're opening up an investigation into TikTok. We don't know where that's going to go. Australia is talking about, well, the United States doing it, we're going to just follow the US. If they ban it, we're going to ban it. So the United States, their justification, they're saying, yeah, there's a lot of Chinese spyware going on. They're collecting data. They're doing all of this and that. But I think it's some tit for tat going on, too, because China has banned all of the major US social media apps: Google, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. All of that stuff is banned. People over there in China, they have no access to that. And we had the Apple versus Huawei thing a couple of years ago. Huawei is the most popular phone in the world, but it's banned in the US for similar reasons that they're saying they need to ban TikTok. And they gave an advantage to US company Apple. So if they ban TikTok, a lot of these social media companies like Google and Meta, they're going to be happy about it. They're going to say, good. All of those millions of users, come on over. We'll let you right in. You can come on Instagram. You can do some Facebook Reels, some YouTube Shorts. So maybe they're doing some lobbying. Maybe they're spending some money buying some politicians in order to get this done, in order to get one of their biggest competitors out of there, because they were making their money. They were collecting all their users, and out of nowhere, this company just rose extremely quickly. TikTok rose extremely quickly and has taken a big chunk of the market share. So it could be some lobbying going on with these big social media companies. It could be some tit for tat because China's banning US companies, US is banning China companies. And maybe these congressmen, they have some type of justification, some type of actual justification, because China, the Chinese government, is a part owner of the parent company. ByteDance is the parent company for TikTok, and China owns a percentage of that, and China also controls a third of the board seats. Maybe they have some type of justification because China is allegedly the US's adversary or whatever. But I will say this about TikTok. TikTok is probably the worst of all of these social media apps. TikTok is extremely toxic. There's all types of filth going on over there. And there's no filter. You have little kids getting on there. You can't say, okay, I need a youth version like YouTube. You can have YouTube Kids or something where it will filter out the filth. But you can have little kids scrolling on TikToks. They'll be looking at Roblox or Pokemon. Next thing you know, They see some lady shaking her ass, people smoking dope. I mean, it's all types of crap going on over there. So it's very toxic and it's highly addictive for these teenagers, these kids. They don't want to focus in school. They can barely read and write, but they want to sit there scrolling on TikTok all day. They just see a short clip and scroll, and they just get stuck on it. But let's get back to this bill here. We're going to look at a news clip to get a little bit more insight. It looks like they're giving TikTok the ultimatum. Either sell it to an American company like Microsoft. Microsoft and ByteDance were in talks about 4 years ago about selling it. And Microsoft would love to get in on this social media space because they don't have any big platform like some of their rivals do. So maybe China and ByteDance will be forced to sell this, or maybe it'll just be banned. Let's take a look.
Now to breaking news in our nation's capital. The U.S. House of Representatives has passed a bill that would ban TikTok in the U.S. unless its Chinese parent company sells the social media platform. KTLA's Trevor Shirley live in Washington with the latest for us. Trevor, good morning.
Frank, good morning to you as well. This vote just coming down in the House within the past hour or so. It was an overwhelmingly bipartisan vote. The final vote count coming in at 352 to 65. And because there was so much buy-in from both sides of the aisle, it could certainly influence how the Senate votes whenever this bill gets over to that side of Congress. The legislation comes amid growing concern over the Chinese government's ability to access data collected by TikTok.
This is a serious issue. We didn't come to it lightly.
Last week, a House committee unanimously passed the legislation that could potentially ban the social media app here in the U.S.
Algorithms, tracking people. It's dangerous for our young people, and we got to find a way to rein it in.
As it stands, the bill would force the Chinese company ByteDance to sell its ownership of TikTok or face a U.S. ban.
What we're dealing with here is very specific concerns about the structure of this company and its relationship with the Chinese government and the Chinese Communist Party.
The FBI and the FCC warned ByteDance could share TikTok user data with the Chinese Communist Party, something TikTok denies. But some lawmakers worry a ban could limit the rights of Americans.
Some of us are concerned that there are First Amendment implications here. Americans have the right to view information.
Supporters argue that's not the case.
Our bill is not an act of censorship. It is a safeguard for our citizens, a firewall against foreign adversary-controlled applications.
Others say Congress needs a more comprehensive approach to all social media, not just TikTok.
We can't just single out one. I don't think we fully appreciate the impact this is going to have.
Now, because we just saw such overwhelmingly bipartisan consensus on this legislation in the House, there's a really good sense now that senators will take a stronger look at this legislation and consider, because of that bipartisan support, whether or not that may influence how they end up voting on this. At this point, it's not clear when this legislation will make it over to the Senate for a vote or which way it could go over there either. That's the latest.
So we'll see what happens. We'll see if China capitulates, if this actually even passes the Senate. We'll see if China capitulates, if ByteDance capitulates. This company clearly has a relationship with China. I know all these TikTok creators, they're trying to defend the CEO and saying, oh no, he's from Singapore and it's totally good. But the company does indeed have a relationship with the Chinese government and is partially owned by the Chinese government. But these TikTokers, they're pissed for obvious reasons. We got all of these TikTokers. They're trying to say, look, we need to call out congressmen. We need to call the senator to stop this, have them reverse what they did, take the bill back, because they're getting paid. Obviously, if that's their source of income, some of these people making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. Some of them, they got millions of followers. They got a lot of clout, and they don't want to lose it. They can try to say, okay, well, I'm just going to go over to Instagram. I'm going to go over to YouTube. And some of them have been doing it. But it's harder for creators when you have a following on one platform and you try to pull them over to another platform. A lot of YouTubers are saying that they're trying to move over to Rumble. But it's harder to get the majority of your audience to follow you. But if this goes through, they're going to have to try to do that anyways. We're going to look at another short clip because a lot of children are pissed. These children shouldn't be on this app to begin with because, like I said, it's filthy. But teenagers and little kids, they're pissed off about it. And they're making videos. Their parents or whoever got them making videos also trying to stop this. Let's take a look.
It's a revolt led by youngsters.
Stop the ban.
Teens and young adults across the nation are rising up to save TikTok.
Stop trying to ban TikTok.
An army of young TikTok rebels are taking a break from viral dance crazes and challenges and coming together to stop the government from taking away their favorite social media platform.
You do you, I do me, and you leave my First Amendment right out your business.
They're using their phones to actually make phone calls to members of Congress.
They've gotten these floods of telephone calls to their offices, mostly from high school kids and middle school kids.
Do not ban TikTok. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable.
But politicians from both sides of the aisle say TikTok is dangerous, that its parent company is controlled by the Chinese government, giving them access to the personal data of TikTok's 170 million users in America.
Today we take a stand against the Chinese Communist Party and their efforts to turn content creators in America into foot soldiers.
Kids are not buying it.
I'm an 18-year-old girl in Michigan. What am I going to do for China? Take my information. I don't care.
The bill is passed.
Today, TikTok lost round 1 in Congress. Next comes the Senate. For the TikTok Children's Crusade, the battle goes on.
Don't take away the app. Let us keep our silly little TikToks.
So here's a question. Would Biden piss off the youth voters even more? We already got the Palestinian Gaza thing going on, and a lot of the youth voters, they're going to sit out the election or vote the other way solely because of that. Now you have another reason. Biden wants to give them another reason. If they go through with this TikTok ban, it's going to piss off a lot of people, and it could hurt them in the election. And that's why I don't think this is going to happen anytime soon. I think Chuck Schumer, the Senate leader, the Democrat Senate leader, I think they're going to kick this down the road. They're going to kick the can down the road. The House passed it, but they're talking about, yeah, we'll look at it. We'll look at it when we look at it. They got vacations coming up. The Senate, they're going to be on some weeks-long vacations. They got other legislative priorities like the government shutdown and other issues. So they might try to kick the can down the road until after the election. So this is getting a lot of press right now, but I think it's going to simmer down. In my assessment, it's going to simmer down. We're not going to hear too much about it. They're going to kick the can down the road, and maybe after the election, we'll see some more action on this. But in the meantime, I think a lot of these TikTok creators, they might want to try to get the hell out of there. They might want to try to find something else to do, because this indeed could happen, especially if China, if ByteDance, if they don't want to capitulate, if they don't want to get bullied, as the Chinese Ministry of Commerce is saying the United States is trying to bully them. If they don't want to get forced to sell this, they might want to find something else to do. But let me know what you guys think about this. Leave me your thoughts below, share the video. Thanks for watching.